State salutes former Governor General. TUC says members to scale down operation.
It impacts everybody.
Sepik Pride secures support.
Name and right sponsor for Sepik Pride.
This is National EMTV News with Toraho Morea.
Good evening, this is Sunday's news. The late Grand Chief Sepik Matane has been described as a man who lived an eventful life. A life of service to his community, the education sector, the public service, and as a head of state for Papua New Guinea. Despite his retirement at 54 years old, Sepik continued to write books which captured his personal experiences and a piece of the PNG history. Born on September 1931, Sepik died at the age of 90.
The life of Grand Chief Sepik Matane cannot be told in just one news story. Born 3 years before the Second World War, Sepik lived through 9 full decades before his passing. His life of service began in the 1950s when he attended teacher training at Sugeri Teachers College.
In 1971, he was the first Papua New Guinean appointed as Secretary of any government department to the Department of Business Development. He held a post from January 1970 to May 1975. It was from there, and I remember because we traveled as a family to Washington, D.C., where we were still under the Australian government, External Affairs, and he was appointed Undersecretary to what was then a little small mission, still under the Australian government, until we became independent in September of 1975. They're making him the first Papua New Guinean ambassador to the United States.
In his line of duty, Sepik traveled the world, becoming the first Papua New Guinean to visit all 7 continents. Reading out some of his achievements whilst in the public service, Prime Minister James Marape said Sepik belonged to an era of leaders, both in the political and public service.
His life was a life of service outside of politics. Unlike many of us, when we ascend to prominence, we choose to find the earliest path to politics. He was the complete opposite. He chose to remain faithful in his pursuit as a public servant of our country. Rose to the highest, served at the United Nations, served as Secretary of State, retired early on time. When he was still under 55, chose to go back to his village in between 1985 to 2004 when he became a 8th Governor General. 4 elections passed by. He chose not to contest elections like many do. He remained a rural-based, truly an authentic Papua New Guinean Grand Chief who remained at service where he was called, living, serving amongst his people. What a character to emulate.
Working as a teacher, Sepik had a hand in the establishment of 6 high schools in West New Britain province. He wrote and published 44 books and has received over 10 awards.
Grand Chief Sepik has won a number of prestigious international awards and academic attainment in recognition of outstanding services and contributions to various causes of literary and a testament to the remarkable contribution made by Sir Sepik Matane in Papua New Guinea.
Sepolius is survived by 4 children, 19 grandchildren, and 17 great-grandchildren. Tekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
People's National Congress Party leader Peter O'Neill says members of PNC joined the family of late Sam Akoitai and the people of central Bougainville in mourning his untimely passing. In a statement, O'Neill described Akoitai as a very hard-working and exceptionally dedicated servant of the people of Bougainville. He said he contributed immensely towards a peaceful and stable Bougainville and is well documented and acknowledged across the country and the region. Akoitai is remembered as a long-serving member of our national parliament and for his contribution towards the development of our country, especially in the mining and petroleum sector. The late Akoitai was a proud foundation member of PNC alongside late Sir William Skate. Members of the Trade Union Congress say union members will scale down operations in their respective workplaces. Today, they held another news conference in Port Moresby, echoing their call as the government of the day remains ignorant over their petition. They say this decision is imminent.
On 6th of December, members of Papua New Guinea Trade Union Congress delivered their petition to the Department of Labour and Industry. With the ruling government making no response, the union members will start scaling down their operations. They say this is a decision reached by all its affiliates.
One is to put government on notice that all action me play plan him long, walk him long, by me play roll him out. Because government, come back long me play long all petition long me play. Number 2, me play now inform him all public, now all workers around the country. Also, one action me play like walk him now by me play starting effective tomorrow, Monday. So union is appointed me play here now. Only by advising all membership long what actions to be taken. And I will not tell you what they will do, but I will take actions as they see fit in each organization.
It's been 14 days with not a word from the Marape Basit government. Union members say their call is crucial. Their plea was to repeal the law on dominant industry player levy and the no jab, no job policy. They anticipate a response in the form of a NEC decision.
It's a government that has no sense of humanity. They have a secret agenda in driving such policies, such draconian laws and policies that will impact on the lives of people. We stand as public sector workers to rise now and defeat those policies. Our call to all public sector unions, our memberships, and the common public servant who is not a member of a union, this fight doesn't demarcate your union affiliation. This fight we are taking doesn't demarcate only union workers, no. It impacts everybody. That includes departmental heads, that includes the driver, everybody in the working sector is included in this fight. We continue to shut up, we continue to sit back and watch. No, this is the call by National Center to rise up now, because we have the power base in running this country. The people we represent are workers. The pay packet that workers have extends to the communities in where they come from. If it is touched by a government, then this is a crime. This is a crime. We must fight tooth and nail to ensure that such laws don't happen that impact on the lives of human beings in this land.
We will not sit down and swallow it this time around. We will rise up and we will defend what is God-given right, what is rightfully ours. We will defend it. And that's the message to your government. We will not sit, we will not sleep until what is rightfully that belongs to the people of this country are given back.
A major point in the petition is also for the sacking of Treasurer Ian Lingstaki, his secretary and consultant Paul Flanagan. 17-plus affiliates have signed the petition.
If we still don't get any response from the government, then we will proceed to lay down tools. The next course of actions will come after that if we still don't hear from the government. Our call still stands. The government must sack Ian Lingstaki for misleading the country and sinking the country further into debt, as well as destroying the independence of the central bank. Those are issues that are critical to the economic prosperity of this country. So anyone who compromises our economy by allowing foreign influence to guide their decisions are not good for the country.
Jack Lopava Jr., National EMTV News.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often informally known as the LDS Church or Mormon Church, is sharing messages of love and hope to the people of PNG. As Christmas approaches, the church is on a mission to light the world with love. Jamie Harrow reports.
As Christmas approaches, churches around the world, including PNG, are sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. This December, the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints have shared their calendar to light the world with love with the people of PNG. In a meet and greet session, Port Moresby PNG Mission President of the Church, President Tevita Kinikini, said the Light the World campaign is to bring light to share the love of Jesus Christ with individuals and families.
The Church has put out the Light of the World campaign, which is to bring light to individuals and families, meaning to be inclusive of people and to share the light, meaning what we know about Jesus Christ, and just going out to be a light to someone, whether it's a service, giving a gift, or just doing as Christ did, and actually living out what we believe that is His gospel.
President Kinikini, who takes care of the church's missionaries aged between 18 and 22 years old, says in this time of the year, it is important for the missionaries to serve and teach the gospel of Jesus. With a few days away from Christmas, the church, through President Kinikini, shares a special Christmas message to light the world with love.
He is our Savior. He allows us to one day be able to return to live in the presence of our Father in heaven. And so my Christmas message is not to get caught up in the things of the world with the presents and Christmas trees, and those are all fun things to do. But I think more importantly, let's really remember the Savior and what He was all about and what He is to all of us. And I hope that we take a moment to think of Him in that light, and then we'll be grateful that He was born, lived His life.
Jamie Harrow, National EMTV News.
Livestock Development Corporation, or LDC, has finally obtained the land title for Corn Farm in Western Highlands Province. In the true spirit of transparency, the land title was presented in front of the community at Corn Farm. Land Secretary Benjamin Sampson presented the title to the LDC Board Chairman and CEO.
Located at the border of Western Highlands and Jiwaka is Corn Farm. It is one of the 5 abattoirs that is managed by Livestock Development Corporation, a business arm of the government. LDC Managing Director Terry Coim said the land title for Corn Farm has been outstanding since 1986, when the state first leased the land to LDC. Years of negligence has attributed to the current rundown state of the abattoir and settlers moving onto state land. With the land title in hand, LDC can now commence rehabilitation work to restore the abattoir.
Disclaim me ownership long title the ground come long LDC. Me officially cut him ribbon na me declare him on this like access long 14 hectares where LDC by having access na cleaning back abattoir na starting back work lo you me long lo confirm. Thank you through.
Mr. Coim said it was important for the land title to be presented publicly so that the community around Confirm are aware that it is state land. Therefore, during the presentation, guest speakers, including the Agriculture Minister John Simon, spoke of the importance of working the land and working with the government to develop agricultural projects that will eventually support them financially.
Only 3% of the land only giving goal of government, which includes Confirm, Hati, Amsterdam, Airport, Again Town, all the small ground here, and legally cap. Only 3%. 3% of ground only giving goal of government. Now, me play it, me play mamas. 97%. Me play no working 97%. You may not cultivating 97% of the land. People are not making good use of the 97% of the land where we start to handle you me. Generations after generations of people.
First, title LDC now you block him. So mira congratulate him. LDC na talk. Thank you people to in making bureau of ground start now title LDC now work by come up.
Pangu talk. Go back lo ground blow you. Money stop lo ground blow you. Cow blow you come go to market. Cow blow you, kakaruk blow you, pig blow you, come go to abattoir. Or cut him, put him lo plastic, or cut him, put him lo tin away. Papua New Guinea must get a meat lo Papua New Guinea. Pangu to kiss him back.
Man makes him travel the same time he find him out of him. This is the legal countries that supply beef lo Papua New Guinea. Vanuatu in a big country. I don't know supplying beef lo you me. I'm sweating most you me gonna come up less man. Maybe like fixing over the ground blow LDC, over the abattoir blow LDC, over the stockyard blow LDC. Then maybe look buy some line now, buy some more, importing some more cattle, sheep, goat, not bring coming to country blow you me. So that maybe increasing I giving you blows or something blow got him. Maybe work low this now.
With massive government support in recent years, LDC is now putting funds into recouping and rehabilitating the 5 abattoirs and cattle ranch it owns and manages. The goal is to revive the cattle industry in PNG and produce more quality and affordable beef for Papua New Guineans. Prime Minister James Marape last year directed LDC to recoup its assets, including abattoirs, to ensure PNG becomes self-reliant in beef production by 2025. Shamin Poreambab, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. More stories after these short messages. Given its geographical location and its history, particularly in relation to Papua New Guinea's capital city, Port Moresby, Central Province has struggled for its true identity over recent decades. The recent passing of a private member's bill in Parliament that gives Central Province the legislative right to receive 10% of NCD's GST tax has resulted in many seeing it as appropriate for Central Province, while others have opposing views. Here's Dennis Orere with a closer look on Central Province's struggle for its true identity.
Central Province has about 30,000 square kilometers of land from the mountains to the coast in the southeastern part of Papua New Guinea, divided into 4 electorates: Abau, Rigo, Kairuku-Hiri and Goilala, which are represented in Parliament through the respective district MPs. The central governor makes it 5 parliamentary representatives for the province.
While the Prime Minister is here, I also want to thank the Prime Minister and the Basil government. And that's for recognizing Central Province. You know, when I got into Parliament, one of the first things I fought for was our identity. As a people, as a group of people in Papua New Guinea, it is very, very important for us to uphold our identity, because that's what drives passion and pride in ourselves as people. We Central Province people, we have to be very proud of ourselves. We must never be ashamed of ourselves. And our identity is very, very important. How we drive our province, how we build our economy is all part of building that passion and that pride in ourselves. And you will see that every time we go to Mosby, we always feel like strangers in Mosby. We don't have a market in Mosby, so our people are frustrated at the markets. We are harassed at the markets. And we are treated like outcasts in Port Moresby.
Among its struggle of being seen as not having a capital city of its own outside Port Moresby and even without a provincial hospital over many decades since independence, current Central Governor Robert Agarobe says people from Central Province have also been struggling to find their identity in Port Moresby in recent years, in which history says the city was the capital of British Papua and eventually Australian colonisation prior to PNG gaining self-government in 1973 and independence in 1975. As a result, there have been various Papuan groups in Port Moresby fighting for Papua to be separate from New Guinea, with claims of it being the 7th state of Australia by law. However, this has been an uphill battle for those involved.
Well, last month or early this month, when we had the last assembly sitting, the previous one, together with the Prime Minister and our Basil government, we were able to amend some laws in NCD. And with the change of these laws now, what rightfully belongs to us, the Central Province people, we will now get directly paid to Central Province, especially our GST.
Governor Agarobe and NCD Governor Poes Pakop have been at loggerheads in recent times over Port Moresby city land and revenue from the National Capital District's goods and services tax. In the November sitting of Parliament this year, Governor Agarobe tabled a private member's bill to amend relevant legislation to allow Central Province to receive 10% of NCD GST, an increase of 5% from previous legislation. There was heated debate on the bill from both sides of the House before it was passed, with a vast majority of MPs supporting the bill.
Many are legacies, and some of them are legitimate issues. But the important thing for us to remember is, should this issue be solved by our capital city? This is what we all should remember in debating and maybe voting on these proposed amendments. As I see it, all the concerns that the governor has should be, have oversight by the particular portfolio minister. If it is finance, the treasury and the finance minister should have oversight over this. So they try to have balance, work it out. What is in the national interest? What is in the interest of the Central Province? And how we can marry them together. If it is about governance, this is something that the Minister for Intergovernment should have oversight and not come in this way, which I could say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is a bit of a piecemeal way, trying to solve a very important issue that has been historical, a lot of legacy.
Mr. Speaker, over the years, my people have been reduced to almost nothing in terms of human dignity, where we walk around with fear and feel like strangers. My people are harassed, murdered, and raped on our own land. and denied our human rights as enshrined in our mother law, our constitution. Mr. Speaker, Central Province has been fighting to be given a fair share of the GST revenue collected in the city since independence and since 2004, where the laws were amended. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the amendments regarding the GST, the bill proposes amendments to the governance structure of the National Capital District Commission. This puts back the power in the proper governing authority, which is the board of the National Capital District Commission, and not in any single member of the board. As a major contributor and stakeholder in the National Capital District, Central Province has the right and standing to introduce this bill to improve the governance of the city of Port Moresby.
The two governors knows, Mr. Speaker, I convened a few meetings. I asked for this matter not to go to court as early on in this year. And on one side, Central Provincial Government tells me that, Mr. Prime Minister, you talk about NCDC haven't been giving us our money for the early part of this year because the matter is in court. So because of the court matter, I can frustrate the mandate of provincial government, whose Governor Grobe has his absolute right to secure mandate from and pursue what is best in the Central Provincial Assembly's view.
We are setting a bad precedent, Mr. Speaker. Whilst we acknowledge that people of Gulf and Central Province travel in and out of Port Moresby is still the city of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Speaker. It's the city of Papua New Guinea. Now you can find there are more Papua New Guineans living in Port Moresby city than the rest of Gulf and Central Province. Papua New Guineans are moving to city in Port Moresby to generate income, generate tax for the city. City tax should be collected by the governor of the city, by the NCDC Council, to continue to improve the city. If we support this bill, we're going to set a precedence for lay. If there's a lay city council collecting tax in lay, you and Gulf will come and ask for tax.
This amendment to the NCDC Act is necessary. It is a necessary act because of some of the injustices which seem to be happening. Because past leaders made some decisions which serve specific purposes. And this is the time to start correcting those mistakes. Now, and this amendment is, to my mind, is well overdue. Well overdue. You see, because specifically Section 33 of the NCDC Act, where it talks about GST sharing. And what we see is this GST is not being shared equitably, equally, in a fair way. So that is the reason why this amendment to Section 33 of the NCDC Act brings more clarity and leaves no doubt in anybody's mind. Because
anti-protesters marched in the nation's capital the next day, calling for a repeal and review of the bill which was passed in Parliament, going in support of NCD Governor Poes Pakop. However, no action was taken upon this. Karukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo has also been vocal in recent Parliament sittings regarding the Hivaso concept, which hinges on land issues between Central Province and NCD.
The famous Hivaso concept that people want to, or leaders want to play politics on. If the minister can clarify whether or not this is a government policy by his department for Greater Port Moresby, or is it a concept they have, and whether or not the administration of it will be by his department to oversee, or the delegated functions now to Central Provincial Government.
Neighbouring Gulf Province has had similar challenges, with Governor Chris Haiveta showing support for the bill put forward by the Central Governor during parliamentary debate.
I want to ask my colleague, the Governor, why have you not been implementing the law? Why have you not been implementing the law? NCDC members who are on this floor, why have you not been implementing the law? That is my question to all of you. This bill is not about changing any big laws. No, the law is already in existence.
One of the downsides of Central Province having the struggle for identity is that tangible development in the province has been slow, with income streams very minimal and the people missing out heavily on key basic services like education, health, tourism, law and order, and physical infrastructure like roads, bridges, jetties, wharves and markets, despite being in the vicinity of the capital Port Moresby, which houses the government decision-making bodies. With Central Province now expected to benefit from the 10% GST from NCD, it is expected this will generate about 3 million kina a month in revenue for the province, outside of other government funding allocations it receives each year.
So one thing you must know about how funds come into the province is very, very important. You will see that we just passed our national budget. What comes down from the budget through the government through functional grants is fixed, it's tight budget. I have no say on this money. But I do have a say on our internal revenue. So with our development agendas we have in the province, I need internal revenue to drive these agendas. So going out and looking for what rightfully belongs to us and getting that paid rightfully to us was one of the tasks I had. And the GST that NCDC was withholding was one of those internal revenue that was lacking all this time. It was never paid to us. But now that the GST will pay directly to us, we will be getting an additional 3 million every month into the province.
Under the Marape Basil government's plan to build provincial hospitals around the country, with lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic so far, Central Province has been chosen to be one of the initial beneficiaries of this plan, and the launching of the new provincial hospital was done at Bautama last month, paving the way for the province's first official and fully functional hospital since its establishment. In past years, Central Province people have been mainly receiving health services, particularly for specialist care, at Port Moresby General Hospital, the country's largest referral hospital. On the backdrop of previous major projects in Central Province like the Central City project at Bautama failing to be completed or implemented successfully in past years, the people of Central Province hope for current and future major projects to be completed well for the progress of the province, given increased income streams now.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay tuned for more details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Sepik Pride franchise is hoping to make it into the country's semi-professional competition. They've signed on with their naming rights sponsor, EMK Construction. The franchise has also announced a sister team partnership with Gilway Rangers.
The Sepik Pride franchise is making much needed progress in making sure their bid to enter the Papua New Guinea National Rugby League competition, the Digicel Cup, is successful. This week, the Sepik Pride franchise secured their naming rights sponsor, EMK Construction.
Eastern West Sepik Province are one of the pioneer rugby league followers and fans in the country, and they developed likes of Kerawanti and Wagambi and all these guys while we were little boys. We were following around now.
Bradley Simon, project manager of the Sepik Pride, says the deal will greatly benefit the Sepik region as a whole.
The partnership that we create right now with EMK will I hope it goes a long way for us. It will not only help the rugby league community, but the whole of Greater Sepik and our people.
Emmanuel Kange, managing director of EMK Construction, says they are committed to be the naming rights sponsor.
PNG RFL is a package already for the naming rights. So when you get the naming rights, you are placed in a position to cover that package. So now we are in the position right now as we sign an agreement to become the naming rights sponsor for Sepik Pride. We already categorized in that package. So
the Pride also announced a sister club partnership with a new franchise headed by former Jiwaka Wagi Tumbe's sponsor, Giru Construction, who are looking to bid for a Digicel Cup spot under the name Gilwe Rangers.
Our name will be Gilwe Rangers. Gilwe Rangers will be our new bid for next year. From Kagwe Rave, Yele Bupangia, Imbongo, Tambulebile. We live around Mount Gilwe. So we have players there. We miss out from selections from Mendimuruks and Agen Eagles. So we've decided we'll bid for our own team.
Bradley said once the team's management is in place, they will have a trial match with their sister club.
The management sit down, they do the decision with getting the players in. Our plan would be having some of our trial games with our sister club, probably up in the islands as well, and probably in Mosby or Rabaul.
Staunch supporter of Sepik Pride is Sepik Governor Alan Bird, says the support for the Sepik Pride is growing in the region and they have many opportunities to grow the franchise.
Rugby league is well organized, obviously, so they've managed to progress faster. Sepik is known for soccer, but there's been a lot of politics. I think there were 2 or 3 groups fighting over who's going to run the soccer in the province, so that's kind of stalled. Rugby league, I think nobody was doing it, so it was quite easy for us to get it up and running. But once they resolve their issues in soccer, there's going to be lots of opportunities, and hopefully we get them into as well. So we've got a lot of facilities, and we invested significantly, particularly in improving the playing surfaces.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. More stories after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports, and the NCD Schools Rugby League competition is winding down with the semi-finals held on Thursday and Friday, with the grand final to be held on Friday next week.
The rain could not stop these young men and women from taking part in the NCD Schools Rugby League final series, with the series being played at the Oil Sech National Football Stadium Oval 2 in the nation's capital, Port Moresby.
This is the elimination round for the finals. And after the eliminations, the winners will proceed to the semi-finals on Tuesday, next week Tuesday. And then after the semi-finals, we're having a grand final on Friday.
Both the boys and girls took part in the quarterfinals, with the semi-finals and the grand final set for next week.
The grand finalists from Moresby South in 4 divisions, under 14, 16, 18 boys and 18 girls. The same goes for Northwest, Northeast and Motukoita.
The competition is for the first time expecting a blockbuster on Friday, with all 4 participating zones in the competition set to do battle in each of their age divisions.
For the first time, I think we have got these 4 zones together to play in the finals, and it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive.
The Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League is changing its focus from the elite level to the junior pathway programs, and President of the NCD Schools Rugby League, Arnold Gande, says there is no other way to ensure top-level performance at the elite level than to promote the school's rugby league concept.
We don't have any other way to develop our players. If we want better, intelligent, professional players in the future, we should start where we are now. Even from the mini mode, which NRL PNG is running, up to schools, and then from the schools up to the academies that the franchises are trying to put in place. They should be looking at schools where we have players who are trained to understand the code of football, code of rugby league.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. All the details after the break.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the afternoon and tonight. Southern region, Port Moresby mostly cloudy with a few showers and possible thunderstorms. Mostly fine and partly cloudy in Daru. In Kerema, mostly cloudy with some showers, possible thunderstorms. Over to Alotau, partly cloudy with chances of a shower or two. And in Popondetta, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
That's the news, sports and weather for Sunday, 19th of December 2021. You have a safe and pleasant working week. Good night.